Well, hey guys, what's up? It's your boy, one and only, and yeah guys, today I am back with a video for you guys as the title of the video is gonna be what if Naruto was the ultimate silent prodigy? So hopefully you guys will like the video. As for the next part, the like goal is gonna be 100 likes. So please guys do so, and without any further ado, let's start the video. As a single figure could be seen sitting in a, you can say, forest, but this forest was different from any other forest as it was none other than the forest of death. The figure had long blonde hair as he had his eyes closed as a aura was surrounding his body, as the aura could easily be seen as chakra, a power within the shinobi world, but that is beside the point, as this figure was none other than our main character, Naruto Uzumaki, as Naruto was simply sitting within the whole forest meditating, trying to, you can say, control his chakra, as Naruto Uzumaki could be, you can say, within the village. Several people had different thoughts about the kid, but he was different from anyone has ever, you can say, seen or known, and for reason for that is quite different. As many people think that Naruto only has one seal on his body, and that is the seal of the Nine Tails, but they were wrong about it, as Naruto actually had two seals. The seals placed upon him on the day of his birth, one by his father, but other one by his mother, none other than Kushina Uzumaki. Flashback of Naruto, as Naruto was 6 years old, as many people might think that the kid was nothing special other than being the obvious reason for being the Jinchuriki of the QB, otherwise known as the Nine-Tailed Fox. But he was quite different from the other kids because he was quite intelligent, as many people simply ignored him for one reason or another, as Naruto knew that there was a reason for that, but he did not knew about it, but he could easily tell that people were sometimes afraid of him or sometimes hated him for unknown reason. He tried to ask the Hokage, the leader of the village, but Hiruzen Saitobi refused to answer any of his questions, either they are about his parents or about the villagers. So Naruto was quite strange, as he was easily able to figure out that he had a seal on his body, or rather on his stomach, but he did not know what it did or what it actually was. But still, he was able to activate his chakra at the age of 6, so the seal was quite, you can say, visible for him to see, but did not knew that what it actually does. But unknown to him, he has also activated another seal, which is going to change his life, his whole life to begin with. So was thinking why or what actually was different about him by simply looking into the mirror, as he was looking towards the seal which was on his stomach, but then suddenly another seal activated that was on his arm, which confuses Naruto a little bit. But then he remembered something that he read from a book which he found within the garbage. It was one of the books about Fuinjutsu or something like seals, how they can be activated by putting chakra into it, as he was able to activate his chakra by looking towards some of the kids who were practicing and discussing, as Naruto had really good stealth. So he was able to hear what they were actually talking about. So as Naruto was able to access his chakra, he also read that how some seals could be activated by putting chakra into it. So he was trying to put chakra into the bigger seal that was on his stomach, but nothing was actually happening. So Naruto simply shrugged as he tried to put a bit of chakra into the another seal which was on his arm, and to his surprise it started to glow, as it hurt a little bit, as he was wondering if he has done something wrong. But then suddenly there was a puff of smoke as a small, you can say, scroll landed on his, you can say, foot, as Naruto was a bit confused and alarmed a little bit as well. But gulping a little, he grabbed the scroll, wondering what it actually was, as he saw that how this scroll had a symbol of, you can say, the Uzumaki crest, the same crest which he saw on that other book, as well as on the back of his many clothes which he was able to buy, as well as on the crest of Jonin's and Chuni's uniform. As Naruto opened the scroll, as wondering who or where it actually was from, as he opened it to see opened the scroll to see that the scroll had his name written on it to Naruto Uzumaki. If you're reading this, my son, at this, Naruto's eyes widen a little bit. If then you have already activated your chakra, so I must say, congratulations to you. I My only regret is not to be there with you at the time when you have started your training. Do tell me how you actually are. As Naruto's eyes widened at that, as the scroll was still there, as Naruto started to read even further. If you're wondering who I actually am, then don't worry about it. I am your mother, Kushina Uzumaki. At this, Naruto's heart almost dropped at that, as tears were already coming to his eyes as he started to read the scroll even further. Naruto, I must tell you something, even though I think that you're a bit young, but still, I have to tell you, and I have, you can say, full faith in you that you would be able to handle the news. You may have already noticed, if you're still in the village, that people sometimes or look at you strange, or some of them even try to hurt you, and if it is the case, I am sorry for that, but I must tell you, at the moment, your father and my husband, Minato Namikaze, the fourth Hokage, has just went off to fight off that masked man who has released the QB on us. At this, Naruto hand started to tremble a little bit. His father, Minato Namikaze, was the fourth Hokage. He could not believe it, as he has went off to fight off against this man. Your father is fighting that masked man, but don't worry about it. Your father is strong. He will be able to handle that guy. But at the moment, I am quite injured. I don't think that I'm gonna survive this. Naruto, you're the oldest of your siblings. At this, Naruto's eyes widen at that. He does not have any siblings, as he looked once again and started to read it once again for any mistakes. But no, it was there, as the latter was once again. He started to read it with more desperation. He wanted to know if he really has a family or not, as the latter was still going on. As you are the oldest of your siblings, Naruto, Menma, and Naruto, as you have inherited the genes of your father, but my face. Huh. So don't worry about it. But I think that I must tell you something. It's about time. As the Nine Tail, there is only one way to defeat the Nine Tails at this point, and I don't think that your father is gonna survive this. And I have already lost the Nine Tails, which means that I'm gonna die anyway. But don't worry about it. Your godparents, Jiraiya and Tsunade, are gonna be there for you guys, as you are a big family. Remember that, Naruto. You're the oldest of your siblings, and you must protect them. Minato only have one way to defeat the Nine Tails, even though I don't like it, but still, it has to be done, as the Nine Tails must be split into three halves. And since you have inherited your father's genes, I think that he's gonna seal the soul or body of the QB inside of you, and he will seal away the chakra inside of your siblings, seeing that both of them has inherited the strong Uzumaki genes. So he's gonna seal away the chakra into it. But let me tell you a secret, Naruto. If you're thinking that you're not gonna receive the power from it, QB is a powerful being, and even with his soul, I think that over time he will regain all of his power, and you will become the only Jinchuriki for the QB's power as well as his soul. So don't worry about of not receiving any benefit from this bad deal. So remember, Naruto, and as well as there is a small seal at the, you can say, bottom of the scroll, in which I have already sealed away the secrets of the Uzumaki clan, as you are the heir of the both Uzumaki as well as the Namikaze clan. I have already, Minato is fighting off against the masked man, and I have made barely able to make a shadow clone, even though in my good days I was easily able to make hundreds of shadow clones. But that is beside the point. I have been able to make a shadow clone which is gathering all of the, you can say, belongings of the Uzumaki as well as the Namikaze scrolls. All of it will be sealed inside of that seal. So put some chakra into it. I have also sealed away my training schedule as well as our training plan, how we were actually gonna train our children. That will be helpful to you. If you're with Jiraiya, then share it with him. He will guide you in it, but don't share the scrolls with anyone, Naruto. You're the clan heir, so those scrolls belongs to you. And when the time comes, teach your siblings as well as and love Naruto. As at that the whole letter was over, as Naruto was simply looking towards the letter with tears in his eyes. He had the family, he had a family, but he did not knew any siblings, Menma, Naruto, as well as his so-called godparents, Jiraiya and Tsunade. Wait a minute, he has heard that name before, but where? He does not remember it. At this point, he was getting a bit emotional, but he quickly grabbed the scroll, which was on the ground once again, as he channeled a bit of chakra into it, as a large scroll appeared, as Naruto was a bit surprised, but then he opened the scroll as it was written within manual about the beginner's training as well as from higher level to higher level techniques. None of them were actually properly, you can say, blocked. If Naruto were to put a bit of chakra as well as a bit of blood into it, he will be able to open it. But at this point, he was a bit desperate. He wanted to ask Gigi, or rather the old man Hokage, but he stopped at that point wondering if, you can say, after all, Naruto was not a fool. He was quite a bright kid. So he wanted to see if his, you can say, Gigi will tell him in time. He has to wait a little bit. After all, that is the only connection he has at this point. But he will try to get some information on his own. As flashback ends, as Naruto is in the forest of death at the age of 13, his eyes suddenly flashed open as a burst of chakra, or rather wind chakra, slammed into a shadowy body that was trying to sneak towards him as it puffed into a, you can say, smoke. As Naruto simply smirked and jumped into the air and moving his fist slamming into a face of one of his enemy. That was none other than a, you can say, shadow clone. As Naruto landed on the ground, as several shadow clones quickly surrounded him, as Naruto had a small smirk on his face. In the years that has been passed, his mother, there were other letters from his mother as well, which were written even before, not specifically towards him, but still written in the form of training schedules and things like that, about the, especially the shadow clone jutsu, which was quite useful, as Naruto was able to accelerate his, you can say, training regime to such a level where he was able to master many of the techniques. And talking about techniques, as Naruto's hand flashed through several hand signs as he released a fireball from his mouth, while his shadow clone has already going through hand signs as they released the water wall technique, trying to block the attack, but Naruto was already behind the shadow clone, kicking him into this small, you can say, attack that was coming towards him. As Naruto simply smirked and vanished once again, fighting off against his shadow clones. As Naruto has already defeated around 100 shadow clones of his who were trying to use different tactics and trying to get him, but not to simply smirk at that. It seemed that he has been improving over the year. He did contemplate it, you can say, to, you can say, act as a dead loss. After all, he did not want it to stand out too much to, you can say, attract the enemies. After all, even though he hated his father a little bit for sealing away QB inside of him, but then he realized that his father did not have any choice and his mother was right after all, and his father for once was wrong in something. It seemed that the QB has already regained much of his power at this point, and Naruto could feel that chakra inside of him, which means that sooner or later his siblings, yes, his siblings who were alive, and that information Naruto got actually from some research as well as from the QB himself. Flashback, as Naruto at the age of 7, he was trying to get some information about his siblings or whatever his godparents actually were. He was able to gather a bit of information like Jiraiya and Tsunade are the members of Sanin along with Orochimaru, but it seemed that both of them are actually his godparents. As Naruto one day asked his, you can say, old man, or rather the Hokage, who seemed to be have lying to him for a long time, but Naruto did not show it to him. As flashback for Naruto, as Naruto was simply, you can say, walking alongside with the old Hokage in their daily routine, or rather monthly routine, to go to the Ichiraku Ramen. As Naruto had a small book in his hand, as Hirozen was looking towards him with a calm expression on his face, as Naruto decided to start his plan as he said, "Hey old man," as Hiruzen looked towards him. "What is it, Naruto?" As Naruto decided to speak, "Well, I was reading some books and I have also came to some information about something called Sanins, and they said to be your student, huh?" As Hiruzen flashed him a small smile as he said, "Well, the Sanin are my student, Naruto, and I must say that all of them are really powerful." While thinking about Orochimaru, as Naruto nodded at that as he said, "But I have never seen them in the village. If they are so strong, where are they? Do you think that you can introduce me to them?" As Hiruzen simply chuckled as he said, "Well, Naruto, unfortunately, not all of the Sanin, well, all of the Sanin are not in the village." As Naruto raised an eyebrow. "Oh, really? So, where are they?" As Hiruzen sighed, as he said, "Well, Jiraiya has a, let's just say, he's a bit of kindred spirit, so he's roaming across the elemental nation while taking missions here and there. And while Tsunade, well, that is a different case, Naruto." As Naruto narrowed his eyes at that as he said, well, okay, as after that, Naruto also decided to get a bit of information thanks to the help of his, you can say, hench, which he discovered thanks to the chakra of the QB was actually solid, and entering into the Hokage office was not that difficult. So he was able to get a small bit of information. That was the scroll that was lying in the open, as it was from Jiraiya, and he was talking about some training about the fox, as it was a coded message. So Naruto was not able to get much of it, but still he was able to gather some of the information like red and fox. So which means that red chakra of the QB, as Naruto realized that his theory was actually right. His siblings were actually with his godparents, as Naruto was a bit sad after hearing that, seeing that he was not with his family, and apparently his so-called family has left him here, which angered him a little bit. While on the other hand, he was also make contact with the nine-tailed fox as flashback, as Naruto at the age of 7 was meditating, trying to reach out to his seal according to the letters of his mother, who apparently was the second Jinchuriki of the QB, as she has left some instructions, as Naruto was able to follow them, and finally he was standing in a, you can say, wide space, as there were some areas were darkened, while on the other hand some of them were, you can say, plain, nothing special to begin with. As Naruto started to walk towards it, and there was water in the ground, but Naruto ignored it. There was a feeling in his chest as if something was calling out to him, as Naruto tried to reach out to him, as it was none other than the QB, as he has finally reached in front of the gigantic gates, as two red eyes were looking towards him. So, my jailer have finally decided to visit me, huh? Well, that is quite interesting, if I must say, kid. You have been interesting so far. As Naruto raised an eyebrow. So you must be watching me, huh? So you're the QB. As QB finally came to the light, as he smirked towards him, as Naruto noticed that he was expecting the QB to be a bigger, but still, he was quite gigantic, if you must say. But still, he was a bit shortened, as Naruto came to the idea that how he must be regaining his power at this point, as QB flashed him a smirk. "Well, you do know that I can read some of your mind as well as your thoughts, even if you're here, and you're right about that. I have yet to regain all of my power, but still, I am quite powerful at this point. If I must say, I have already regained up to 6 tails worth of my chakra back, and in time, the later 3 are more powerful than the others. So they will take some time, but at the time you reach the age of 13, I'm pretty sure that I would have already regained all of my power." As Naruto raised an eyebrow towards QB. You are quite different than I expected, as QB simply shrugged. "Well, you see, I had lost my, you can say, both halves of my chakra, the good and bad, leaving me a neutral party. And when I'm regaining my powers, it is quite different from the other chakra of mine, which was corrupted because of, you can say, a lot of hatred of years. So, I am, at this point, quite neutral being." As Naruto came to the realization, it actually made quite a sense. After all, QB are all the bijus according to what his mother has written, are just chakra, and either they are good or bad. They are simply chakra, and if both of the hearts are separated from the soul, or rather the consciousness of the body, then what remains behind is emptiness, or rather neutral party. As Naruto nodded at that, it actually made sense, as Kyuubi simply lay down, but it does not mean that I am anything less powerful or anything less dangerous. It is just that at this point I lack the hatred which corrupted my previous chakra, which I have lost. But I know that why you are here. As Naruto looked towards him, I had already figured that out. But do tell me, if my siblings are actually alive or you have already killed them off, as he was actually praying that how his at least his siblings were alive. Later did he, you can say, little did he knew that he would actually regret thinking that. But anyways, as QB looked towards him, according to what I can sense, my chakra is still sealed away in those bracts, otherwise it would have actually returned back to me. But it seems that they are losing the chakra as well, and instead of returning back to me, it is turning back into the nature chakra with in its purest form. And I, on the other hand, is regaining the, you can say, chakra just like normal. As Naruto raised an eyebrow at that, as QB simply shook his head. Don't worry about it, kid. As for the answer, yes, your siblings are actually alive and they have already started to tap into my chakra. I think that your godparents are actually training them. As Naruto simply shook his head. What are you talking about? My godparents? As so why did they left me here? As QB looked towards him, as they said, well, I can make a small contact with my previous chakra, and from their eyes, you could actually see what is actually going on the other side, where your siblings are training with your godparents. As Naruto gulped a little, it would be the first time he would actually see his remaining family, his godparents, as well as his siblings. As he nodded at that, as QB simply smirked. Well, he could do that. After all, he does not have much to do here. And since he lacked most of his hatred, he does not know what to do at this point. But hey, nothing wrong, huh? As he simply smirked as he started to channel a bit of his chakra, and suddenly a small orb appeared out of nowhere as he started to form a large screen. As the chakra suddenly started to glow even more and more, as QB had his eyes closed, as two of his tails were simply pointed towards the chakra beam, and then suddenly a small beam attached to it and slammed into the small screen. As the screen started to glow even more, as Naruto's eyes suddenly widened as he saw that how both of his siblings were panting as Jiraiya, as the same description according to his, you can say, according to some of the photos he has seen in the whole, you can say, sealing away scroll and things like that. Jiraiya of the Sony along with Tsunade were standing in front of his sibling, as Jiraiya said, well, Menma, Naruto, it seems that you both of you have done quite well, huh? As Menma flashed a smirk at that, as he said, well, what do you expect from the legacy of the fourth Hokage? As he smirked at that, as Jiraiya simply chuckled at that, well, kid, you have just mastered the leaf exercise, or rather the tree walking exercise, since the leaf exercise did not work so well. As Naruto simply smirked at that, well, I did it better than Menma anyways, as Menma simply glared towards her. After all, she had better chakra control anyways, having the Jin half of the Cubist chakra. As Tsunade said, alright, Naruto, why don't you come with me? It's about time that I start teaching you about the medical arts and things like that. Because of having the Jin chakra, or rather, the chakra which is actually aligned to mind techniques such as Genjutsu, the medical jutsu, which means that Naruto actually had a strong affinity for healing people and having a bit of, you can say, talent for the whole Genjutsu department if he can actually handle all of that chakra to begin with. But I think that she would be able to do it anyways. So, as she simply smirked at that, as Menma said, hey, before that, Godfather, I wanted to ask you something. As Jiraiya looked towards Menma, as Naruto also stopped. Yeah, we were trying to ask you something, just like you told us before about our whole family, about our father and mother, and the whole thing. So, can you tell us about the brother you were actually talking about? As Jiraiya sighed, as he said, well, Menma, Naruto, it's about time that I tell you about Jiraiya, about Naruto as well. As Menma said, well, go with it. As Jiraiya said, well, you already know that both of you are the children of the fourth Hokage because we told you as you were born triplets. As for Naruto, he did not had or possess any of the Kyuubi's chakra, so we decided to, you can say, take both of you guys with us so that we can train you to control the power of the Kyuubi. As well as there is another reason for that. As Naruto raised an eyebrow, and what reason would that be? As Jiraiya said, well, I think that Naruto did not have that much talent and he would be a hindrance in the whole training department since he only possessed the soul and there is never in the whole history of the shinobi world a soul. Only a soul has been sealed inside of someone. Always the whole biju was sealed inside of them. So there is a, you can say, chance that Naruto would be taken over by the soul of the Kyuubi. At this, you can say Kyuubi simply chuckled at that. What little did they actually knew about the Bijus? As he simply shook his head while Naruto could not believe it. A moment he was happy. He was happy that how his siblings were actually alive, and for a moment he was thinking that it was just because the Kyuubi's chakra was dangerous, so they took them away. But now his godfather just said that, which angered him a little bit. They were thinking that he would be taken over by the soul of the Kyuubi. As he grated his teeth on that, Jiraiya decided to speak even further. Well, according to the letters, Sartobi Sensei has been sending us. Naruto does not seem to have much talent in the department of the shinobis. So I don't think that he would be on the level of both of you. As both Menma and Naruto smirk at that, quickly forgetting that they were actually talking about their old brother, which has yet to enter into the academy and receive any shinobi training. As Tsunade said, and besides, he does not have the Kyuubi's chakra, and he would have been a hindrance in the whole training. I'm pretty sure that Sarutobi Sensei would be able to take care of him, but at the point, the other reason is that we received a premonition from the great elder toad sage as Jiraiya decided to speak, as he said, and along with Minato, we believe that it is either one of you, and that is the reason Minato sealed away the power of the Kyuubi inside of you guys, and sealing away only the soul inside of Naruto, only knowing the risk as well, but still he did it because he had full faith inside of you guys. If Naruto were to go out of control or possessed by the Kyuubi, then it is your responsibility as his siblings to free him from the, you can say, control of the Kyuubi. As both Menma and Naruto shot a thumbs up as Naruto said, even though I don't like it, if things were to go bad, I would take care of Naruto myself and free him from the clutches of the Kyuubi. As Jiraiya smiled at that. That is the whole point, Naruto. So let's start the training once again. As the whole screen simply shut at that as Naruto gritted his teeth. The whole mindscape started to shake a little bit with, you can say, a surge of chakra. As Kyuubi was a bit amused at that as he said, well, now I remember why I liked being too, you can say, bad. As he chuckled at that as he said, well, anyways, those were your siblings who apparently had the great idea to end your existence soon enough, and your godparents who apparently only cared about the power of mind. Well, fools. As he thought that in his mind, as he simply chuckled as he said, well, any other request, kid? As Naruto simply did not say anything as he decided to exit the mindscape. He was sad, he was angry, he was frustrated as his own godparents, according to his mother, he could trust with all of his, even with his life, had apparently thought that it would be a great idea to train his siblings to end him if he's, or rather, they believed that he would be taken over by the Kyuubi, not even coming to the whole, you can say, even coming to the idea that Kyuubi could actually regain its power and become a Biju rather than a soul. As Naruto simply shook his head, but now he knows where he actually stands with his whole family, and to think that he has wasted a whole year instead of training like he actually could thanks to the help of Shadow Clone instead of searching about his living family as but no longer if his parents or rather his godparents and siblings want to play then they would play as well as he smirked at that and after all he do knows a lot of things. It seemed that his father also had the same idea that he would be taken over by the soul of the QB as he simply scoffed at that. Only his mother had faith in him, and that is the only reason she has left him all of the scrolls and naming him the clan heir as well. So, in time, he will have everything that belongs to him. Naruto had already flashback ends as Naruto had already ended his training. As Naruto was simply taking a shower, he was wondering what to do tomorrow after all tomorrow is gonna be the graduation exam. He in all of this time in academy, even though it was amazingly easy and quite frustrated because he was hoping that his siblings could actually come back as he wanted to show them how he was no weakling, especially that you can say smug looking godfather of his, as well as that godmother. But he simply shook his head. That is beside the point at the moment. Tomorrow is gonna be the graduation exam, which is pretty easy. In all of his academy time, he has tried his best to remain, you can say, the whole at the center of the whole class, not being the dead last because he thought it for some time, but then it would give the idea to his siblings as well as his godparents that how he was even weaker than they expected and it would be too much spotlight. So that was out of the option at the moment. While on the other hand, Rookie of the Year will also get him too much attention. So he decided to remain at the middle of the pack, a anonymous person, not having the bad attention of the dead lords, which at the moment is Kiba Inuzuka, and not having the attention of the Rookie of the Year and the expectations like Sasuke Uchiha, which will definitely be a target in the future for the shinobis. So, the middle of the pack is the way to go, but he has still to come to idea what to do about his whole predicament. Shrug, well, he will just wing it, as he simply smirked at that. In the whole time in his academy, to be honest, he was not impressed by either the clan heirs or the other students, especially that Uchiha, who was too arrogant for his own good. But Naruto simply shook his head. That is beside the point. He does not care about it. While on the other hand, he do have some problems at the moment, especially the Mizuki, as he was looking towards his paper. And then he looked towards the Mizuki, who was trying to look as innocent as possible. As Naruto sighed, once again, it has a genjutsu on him. One would think that Mizuki had already learned from years of trying to sabotage him, but not being able to do so. And once again, in the final exam, he has a genjutsu on his paper. As Naruto simply sighed, annoyingly at best, as he thought that in his mind, as he released the genjutsu on his, you can say, paper and started to write on it. As Mizuki noticed that how Naruto was writing as a smirk, thinking that how he got the demon, even though for years he tried to put genjutsu on it, and Naruto had already noticed it and released it. So Mizuki thought that Naruto must be thinking it was some type of test or something like that, but this time he had learned, you can say, a high ranking B rank jutsu, B rank genjutsu, which means that there is no way that Brad could actually be able to release the genjutsu on it, or even being able to think that it has a genjutsu on it or notice it. So he was smirking, confident that how his genjutsu would get him this time and he would be able to fail that Brad because to be honest, he hated him with passion. While on the other hand, Iruka was looking towards the kids with a small smile on his face, thinking that how they're gonna become shinobis and become the pride of Konoha soon enough, and then his eyes looked towards Naruto as a sad expression came to his face. To be honest, when the academy started, he hated the boy but tried to treat him like any other kid, while on the other hand, Naruto simply ignored him and the other kids as well. He was not talking too much or too loud or anything like that, not antisocial, but still quite, you could say, different. In time, Iruka noticed that Naruto was a hard-working student, so he started to respect the kid but still lacked the bond with the kid. So, at this point, he was, you can say, just thinking of Naruto as his own student. So, after some time, the whole, you can say, test ended as Naruto was standing in front of Iruka as well as Mizuki, as he had kunai a shuriken in his hands. As Naruto saw once again, he had, you can say, rusty weapons in his hand as he looked towards Iruka and then towards Mizuki, as Mizuki was looking as innocent as possible, as Naruto simply looked towards Iruka as he said, as Iruka speak up, alright Naruto, you have to throw these kunai and shuriken and meet all the, you can say, the points and you will get the whole score from us. As Naruto simply nodded at that. He was quite annoyed at this point. To be honest, he has met this type of people a lot, and best thing he could do at this point is to ignore them, as he simply put a bit of chakra into it and released all the shurikens and kunais. And today, because he decided to not hold back anymore, so he released all of the kunais and shurikens, surprising most of the class as all of them met with their target as Mizuki gritted his teeth on that. How is this even possible? Those kunais and shuriken should not even stick with all of the power of a chunin, and this brat has somehow done it. As it must be a lucky shot. While on the other hand, most of the clan heirs were surprised as Shikamaru narrowed his eyes. To be honest, he found that Naruto character quite interesting because, to be honest, he was quite intrigued by it. While on the other hand, Sasuke narrowed his eyes at that. It was the best score, best, you can say, so far. While Sasuke got the full marks as well, but still, his, you can say, the whole point, his shuriken missed one of the dead center, which means that he will get 19, while on the other hand Naruto will get 20, and he did not like that whatsoever, as he do not even remember the name of this kid because, to be honest, he was like a side character, or a side, you can say, side character and things like that. So Sasuke never paid him any attention. He thought that there was no one to rival him here, as he narrowed his eyes at that. While on the other hand, Iruka was also surprised but smiled at that. Naruto, I must say that you must be practicing a lot, huh? You have done it. Well done. As Naruto simply nodded and started to walk back towards the class while most of the girls were cheering that how Naruto or the kid has somehow done something, you can say cheating or something like that, but Naruto simply ignored them. As while on the other hand, Iruka finally came to the last exam as he said, alright, now it's about time for the ninjutsu section. But before that, it's the taijutsu. So you guys are gonna spar with us. As Iruka came towards the clan heir, and after that, finally, it came time for Naruto, as Naruto was about to step into the ring, as he noticed that, how Mizuki has already shoved Iruka back, as he said, Iruka, you must be tired, let me handle this one. As Iruka raised an eyebrow, but nodded nonetheless, not thinking any of it. As Naruto sighed, to be honest, he was getting annoyed of this teacher, so he's gonna teach him a bit of a lesson. As Mizuki arrived, alright Naruto, you know the whole schedule, huh? So let's begin this, shall we? As Naruto simply nodded as Mizuki smiled innocently as he rushed towards Naruto with, you can say, at least high gaining speed. As Iruka thought nothing of it, but Naruto dodged it easily. As Mizuki was a bit surprised as he lashed towards Naruto once again, increasing his speed to a mid-chunin level. But Naruto was dodging all of it with hands in his pockets quite easily, as surprising most of the kids there because they thought that that Naruto kid was actually nothing special. As Sasuke narrowed his eyes dangerously, he was not expecting this kind of performance from that kid, as Naruto while inside of his mindscape was talking to Kyuubi in all of his time. He and Kurama has came to quite good relationship because Kurama was literally neutral at that point, and now that he has already started to regain the upper levels of his power with game, you can say the hatred and other things as well. But now he was quite in control and with working relationship with Naruto, as Naruto was simply looking towards, you can say, a chess piece in front of him as he moved one of his, you can say, soldiers in front of, you can say, the king of Kyuubi, as Kyuubi simply smirked as he moved his tail and, you can say, moved one of his, you can say, soldiers towards Naruto's chess piece, as both of them were in a intense competition of chess competition, as QB said, "You do know that you're still fighting that other Chunin guy." As Naruto simply shrugged, "He's annoying and he's quite weak. I have already put that automatic autopilot seal on my body, so that would be able to. That would be a great test." As QB simply chuckled at that. Naruto was a true prodigy in sealing art. He was able to make several seals which he never even came out as QB did not even thought were possible to begin with. Not that he know much about seals. Other than that, they could actually seal away Bijus. But that is beside the point. As Naruto said, "Well, it's about time that I end it." As he nodded towards QB as he came outside of the mindscape. At that point, Mizuki was beyond frustrated. He was moving at his best speed, trying to get the brat who was humiliating him. At that point, Mizuki was going high tuning speed, which was his level, while on the other hand, Iruka was about to stop the battle, saying that how the time ended. But what surprised him as Naruto jumped into the air as he jumped high as Mizuki tried to look towards him, but instead he met with the sun as his eyes closed because of the brightness of the sun. As Naruto simply smirked as he back-footed Mizuki on the head, slamming his face into the ground and ending the battle just like that, sending him outside of the ring. As Mizuki was surprised as he started to stand up. Not that he was much hurt because Naruto did not put much effort into it. He just wanted to end it at this point. And showing too much will cause him, you can say, to be under suspicion or something like that. Because to be honest, lately he has been noticing some of the arm boots trying to, you can say, watch him. So he did not want it that at this point. As Iruka said, "Well done, Naruto. You have done splendidly. So it's about time for the final match, shall we?" As all of them, you can say, went into the final exam. Naruto was easily able to, you can say, pass the final exam, which was the ninjutsu, you can say, section, the whole, you can say, the substitution, the transformation, as well as the whole clone jutsu, which Naruto was able to make thanks to the help of some of the seals, as Mizuki was hoping that the brat would fail, but it seemed that he passed somehow, and his marks almost surpassed, you can say, Sasuke, if he did not had, you can say, some say in the whole matter about some homework or something like that, and cutting his marks, trying to put him in the dead last, but it was simply not possible, as which angered him a lot. While on the other hand, Aruka was pretty happy for his student, while far away, one figure was looking toward this whole scene with a frown on his face. It was none other than the third Hokage, Hiruzen Sarutobi. As Hiruzen has watched the whole thing, especially when Naruto was dodging all the attacks of Mizuki like they were nothing at all, while on the other hand, Mizuki was moving at the speed of high tuning as Hiruzen was a bit worried about the kid. After all, there was always a danger of the QB's soul taking over the brat. Just like Jiraiya has said, it has never been done. The soul is simply not sealed inside of a human body, no matter what, even with the seal. So if it has taken over Naruto's body, then he would have to do what he wanted to avoid. But as Hokage, the good of Konoha came before anything and everything. After all, Naruto has been getting a lot stronger, and he was getting more and more secluded from Konoha, which means that something has to be done about it. It seemed that Jiraiya has to come back and look at the seal once. If Jiraiya confirmed that Naruto has been taken over by the QB, then actions must be taken. So yeah guys, here I will have this part. Hope you guys enjoyed it. For the next part, you guys already know, please like, and we shall see soon. Peace.